welcome to my channel, and I am Stephanie, and this is March the 1st through the 10th book wrap-up for March. I'm pretty sure I said March already, but it's March! So, the beginning of March. We are like 10 days into March. Yeah, it's like March the 10th. We're gonna do something different because this month is going to be crazy busy, and I'm gonna get crazy amount of books read. At least I hope, fingers crossed. That is the plan. I've already read 10 books this month. 10 books in 10 days. That's one book a day. Yes, it is. I have done it. Yeah. So instead of making the end of the month video super long, I am going to break this month up into weeks the best way I can. However, that last week of the month, like the March 23rd, 24th, 25th, something like that, you guys probably won't see a video because that is a Polycon. And if you don't know what a Polycon is a book signing or author meet and greet event where a whole bunch of authors come, and yes, it is in my backyard in Arlington slash Washington DC area, and I'm going. I'm super excited about that. I decided to look at the list of books that I need to read there, and there's 18 of them. Crazy that I need to read 18 books in, when I counted it, it was like 14 days until the event. I don't know what my planning was about because I wasn't, obviously. You guys are probably gonna get extra videos this month. So let's get to what I did read already from March the 1st through March the 10th, and hopefully you guys enjoy this style. If you do like this style, please leave those comments down in the description box or in the comments box so you guys, let me know if you like this or not. So the first book that I read was Home Run King by Stella. I gave this book 5 stars. I read it as an arc, and it is a contemporary romance, almost bordering on rom-com, maybe just a little. But our two characters are Gage, who is a professional baseball player, and Katie, who is the caregiver to Gage's grandmother. Well, unfortunately, Gage's grandmother dies, and Katie and him grieve together. And through that grieving, they create a little something. Well, this is their journey of their after grieving and things that happen from there. It's funny, it's sweet, it has pregnancy drama that goes on, and that is all I'm going to tell you about it. It's fun. It's a great journey between the two. Their banter between all the things that are going on, and then the drama that goes along with being Major League Baseball. It was so much fun. I loved it. I absolutely love the stuff that Stella puts out, and it's a great read. It's feel good, and it has lots of emotion and drama that goes along with it, but at the same time it really hits home and gives you all the feels. The second book that I read was American Queen, New Camelot #1 by Simone, and whew, it is an erotic romance. I give this book 4 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, and this has Greer, who is your female character, and she is a woman that has been in politics for a long time. Then you have Ash and Emery, who is the president and vice president. And the reason I gave it 4 stars was because it was very political in nature in the story, but at the same time it was super hot, and I can sort of feel that it was more of a setup book. It probably could have been more of a story, and let me just tell you that there were times where I wanted Greer to be smarter about her actions, and that's why I only gave it 4 stars. Because she grew up in a family in politics and everything like that, and she was her grandfather's trusted advisor and everything. Some of the things she did just weren't very smart, in my book, in my opinion. But I did enjoy it, and I look forward to getting to books 2 and books 3 of this series. The third book that I read was Fowl Language, Welcome to Parenthood by Brian Gordon, and I gave this book 5 stars. It is a graphic novel, and it's just these little cute, sweet, funny comics about parenthood, all the things that kids like to do to us parents, and it's very relatable. And if you're a parent and you're having a bad day, you can look up one of these little comics and probably relate to it, get a good laugh out of it, and know that you are not alone in parenthood when it comes to crazy ass kids. The next book I read was Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, and I placed this in the new adult section for myself, and I gave it 4 stars. I listened to it on audiobook. This book deals with Archer, who has a traumatic event that happens to him where he is left without a voice. So he has to learn how to live in this small town and deal with the secrets that the small town keeps with his family. And Bree has a traumatic event that happens to her, so she moves from her old town to this small town thinking she wants to start a new life, or at least change it up and rebuild herself. The two of them happen to meet, and luckily Bree knows sign language, but she has to deal with her demons. Archer has to deal with his demons. The way they deal with them together, it's very touching, it's very heartfelt, and I really enjoyed it. There were moments that I thought things could have been done a little differently, which is why I gave it 4 stars, but I really did enjoy it. The next book that I read was The Bird and the Sword by Amy Harmon, and I gave this book 4 stars. Listened to it on audiobook, and I placed it under fantasy. Oh my goodness. Okay. Didn't even think that I was going to enjoy this. I was reading it because last month for Genre-a-thon was fantasy, and I started it last month, and then I finally got to it, and wow, am I surprised at how much I really enjoyed it and was dragged into this story about Lark and Tyrus, and how fantastical words and magic and things like that just, it was so just vibrant and beautiful to my ears, and I just really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to get to the next book in the duet, I believe, or duology, what have you. I'm not sure that the ending sort of felt like it was done, but there could have been a cliffhanger there that I wasn't catching on to. I'm not exactly sure. I did enjoy it, and I can't wait to get to hear more about it. The next book I read was Away from the Dark, which is The Light #2 by Aleatha Roman. This is the conclusion of the Light series. And you know, it's one thing to start a duet off as a dark romance, and then you flip it over and you turn it into like this huge thriller, crazy mystery, and that's exactly what Aleatha did with this book. I give this book 5 humongous stars. It's still following the same characters that Into the Light was following. It is still sort of a romance, but I think I want to say I put it into the romantic suspense category for the month. I'm not exactly sure. You'll have to wait and see for the end of the month when I do the stats on where exactly I put this, but I definitely think that the mystery and thriller aspects of this story really came out in this second book. And you have Sarah, who has no clue about her past. She woke up in this community with a husband named Jacob, and her and Jacob are trying to find themselves and deal with this mysterious thing that is going on. And I can't really talk about what's going on, because then that would provide spoilers for the last book as well as this book. And you also have Stella, who is looking into this cult, and it's just so much craziness, and I was a little unsure if I liked Jacob in the first book, but now I can say that I do love him, and I think that's all I'll leave that at. And this is definitely one of those books that you're going to be thinking about after you finish it. I've been thinking about it for 2 or 3 days since I finished reading it, and it's just like, Aleatha likes to give us this feeling when you ask her questions about how we should interpret things in her books, and I definitely get that feeling with this book. It's a fantastic ride. It is a fantastic ride. It is true, dark, twisted, crazy Aleatha Roman, and I loved every single minute of it. The next book I read was Wicked, a Wicked Trilogy, #1 by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I'm putting this into the paranormal romance section. I give this book 4.5 stars. On Goodreads, it's probably going to be a 4-star. It's on audio. I listened to it on audiobook, and this deals with Ivy, and Ivy is a college student in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and she's part of this group called The Order. It's very much a setup book, and it's very fantastical. It deals with fae. At times it was fun, and Ren, who is the main male character that's in the book, he is an anomaly. He's special, he's new, he's down visiting, he does a transfer into this section of the Order, and they have to start working together, and they have to deal with fairies and things like that. I will say the brownie, whose nickname is Tink, in this book is comic relief. I loved Tink. Really enjoyed him in this story and how he played a part in the book. The next book I read was Return to Us, The Harbour #3 by Christy Pastore, and this is a contemporary. I read it as an ARC. I give this book 5 stars. It took me a little bit to read this book, and it wasn't because I disliked it. It is just a story about marriage and how freaking hard marriage is. Oh my goodness, marriage is hard. And I had feelings, and I think you should go into this book very blind, except for knowing that it's about a marriage. That is the only thing that I can say about it. I enjoyed it because I am married, and I could see just how freaking hard these two characters were working on their marriage. So you have Tinley, who is an art person in the art world, and she was a child actress, and she had some trauma, so she knows how Hollywood works and how the entertainment business works. Matthew is an actor who usually deals in action. The two of them, they're courting. They have this slow burn that goes along, and yes, it's amazing. Their journey is amazing, but I definitely think I'm not going to say anything more about it because you don't need to know anything more to go into it blind and just take the journey with them. The next book that I finished was A Stone in the Sea, Bleeding Stars #1 by A.L. Jackson, and I placed this in contemporary. I didn't particularly care for this book. I listened to it on audiobook. I did it in 1 day, as a matter of fact. I only give it 3 stars. This book follows Sebastian, who is a rock star that has troubles in LA, so he decides to sneak away or take him and his band while the legal issues are trying to get taken care of in LA over to Savannah, Georgia, and in Savannah, Georgia, he meets this young woman named Shay. So Shay is this sort of unknown, she's in her hometown, and she's working at a bar, which is where she meets Sebastian, and she doesn't know who Sebastian is, so you go the entire story not knowing anything about each other, really knowing anything about each other. And then I don't know if it's the audiobook version of it, what it was, but the female narrator was good. I enjoyed her voice throughout the book. It was soothing. It definitely had that southern sort of draw to it, and you can tell that she was from this small town and she had like a country background, or she had the country feel to it. The male narrator sounded like a 40-year-old or like an older mature man, and come to find out the character is only 25, 26 years old. Didn't sound, at least to me, like a young rock star, and it just kind of threw me out. And then there was some repetitiveness in sort of the speech, or maybe the words of the book. It would be like falling, 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 down, 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 down. I was like, oh no, I don't want to. Oh. And then there was some voiceover work done, and it threw off the volume in the story, and I was just like, oh, okay, did you go back and fix that after a minute? Yeah, okay, that's what that seems like. But yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea. I will say that the ending, by the end of the book, I do now want to read the next book to find out what happens. Even though the voices aren't my cup of tea, I want to find out what happens in the rest of the story. So I may or may not be pushing to try and hear that second book here sometime in the near future. And then the last book that I read, I actually just finished reading it. It's Getting Schooled by Emma Chase, and it's a contemporary as well. I listened to it on audiobook, and I give this book 5 stars. It's amazing. I binged it. I loved the voices of the narrators. They really embodied these two characters. It is a second chance love story. It's just it was so good. So very, very good. It was sexy. It was funny. It was just perfect. I so enjoyed it. And this story follows Garrett, who is a high school teacher, and he's a football coach, and he really relates to the kids. And then you have Calloway, who is a theater sort of nerd, I guess you could say, that has grown up and is now a director out in LA. Well, they grew up together. One's in LA now, and one is still in their New Jersey small town. So Calloway has to come home because her parents get into an accident, and they sort of reconnect and refine themselves. And then they have to deal with some of the issues that they had when they were younger, and it was so good. It was so very, very good. I so enjoyed it. I binged it. I listened to it in almost one sitting, and I just loved every little bit of it. And then because I listened to it on audiobook, and I believe it's an Audible exclusive, so I don't even think this book is out yet. I'm not exactly sure. I'll let you guys know in the print or whatever. I'll check that. I'll do some research on that. It was an Audible original, and there is an interview with Emma Chase after the story is over, and she's so sweet, and just her answering the questions about her inspiration and things like that. It was so sweet, and I loved all of her answers, and made it even more personable and relatable to the story and everything like that, and just loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. So those are the 10 books that I have read from the 1st through the 10th of March. Have you read any of those books? Let me know down in the comments what you thought of those books. How do you guys like this style also? As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys next week.